Okay, so what we're going through here is the stuff for P4 and also for our walk. So what we've got to consider before we do any kind of walk or expedition is planning. So within the planning process there's lots of things that we've got to consider to make sure that we come back all nice and safe. So we're going to go through the different safety issues. These are the things you're going to have to talk about in your planning document. So before you go on the walk, that needs to be filled in with each section, talking about how you're going to make sure that you and the rest of your party are nice and safe. And then we're also going to talk about environmental considerations, which you're definitely going to need for the P4 criteria. Okay, so let's go through the things that we need to consider. Okay, so safety issue number one, we've got to think about what equipment we're going to be taking with us and specifically what we're going to wear on our feet. So equipment wise, we are talking about all of our clothing. We're talking about the map that we're going to take, any navigation equipment, compasses, etc. What we're going to take, what kind of level of detail of map are we going to take? Are we going to take a 1 to 50,000? Are we going to take a 1 to 25,000? Are we going to print off just the bit we need? Are we going to put that in a map holder? Are we going to make sure, are we going to take a bag with us? What kind of bag? How long is our walk going to be? So thinking about what kind of bag we need to take. Is it going to be an overnight expedition? Is it going to be a short one? Do we need to take a bag? We need to think about our clothing, so we need to think about the weather. It might be nice and sunny when we start our walk. What if we get lost halfway round and then it gets colder? What's going to happen with that? So these are all the things that we've got to consider with regards to our expedition. And obviously what we're wearing on our feet. Now for our walk that we're going to be doing, trainers are going to be pretty much fine because it's only a short walk. Hopefully it won't be too wet and muddy. Some of it's going to be on the road, but obviously if we were walking on more uneven terrain, we might need to think about walking boots or walking shoes. If we were doing more sort of mountainous, walking up the backside of Snowdon, for example, then we might definitely consider some walking boots or walking shoes. Okay, then thinking about the weather. So it might look nice and warm when you start, but it might get cold very quickly. If we're doing our lowland walk round, Stubbers, etc., then we can just look on the weather report and we can be pretty confident that the weather is going to stay the same for the majority of our walk. If we were doing a more mountainous area, then the weather can change very, very quickly up there. So you hear stories of people starting off on a nice sunny day, getting to the top of Ben Nevis or something, and then a storm comes in and they're just wearing shorts and a t-shirt and have to get rescued. So just a quick glance at the weather. Yeah, always pack just in case. So if it says there's a chance of rain, then just pack a ghoul or something like that to keep you dry. But keep an eye on the weather so that you can decide on your equipment. Then when we're thinking about the walk that we're going to be doing, we're going to think about how skilled we are when we do our walk. So are we capable of the navigation that is required for the walk that we are going to be doing? So our night hike that we're going to do, it's not particularly taxing. We need to just have a basic knowledge of navigation to be able to get us around, how to read a map. But again, the more complex the walk becomes, then the greater the skill level we might need. Especially if we're walking in a very open country with not a lot of landmarks, then we're going to be able to use our compass a lot more. With us, we're going to have lots of things that we're going to be able to use in order to do that. But obviously, you've got to make sure that you have the knowledge in order to be able to make it round the walk that you're doing. Then thinking about the supplies that you're going to take. How long is your walk going to take you? How much food might you need? Do you need to take first aid supplies? Have you got a phone? Has anyone got any particular medical conditions that we might need to take stuff for? Is someone asthmatic? Is someone diabetic? Yeah, just thinking about what you're going to carry in. Is there going to be somewhere en route for you to stock up on supplies? Or are you going to have to do everything completely self-supported? Again, this is going to go back to how long the walk is, what equipment you're taking, etc. Then you've got to think about what you're going to do if you get lost. Is someone going to be able to come and find you, for example? How are they going to know where to find you? Have you left a copy of your route card with someone who's not doing the walk? Is it safe to get somewhere quickly if you do get lost? Again, with us, we're walking in a pretty built up area, so if you get lost, you should be able to just walk to a road, find the name of the road, and then find where you're going from there. But obviously, as soon as you start getting away from roads with road names, that becomes trickier. If you're in a lot of open country or a mountainous area and you get lost, how are you going to tell someone where you are? if we went out the back of the manor and you got lost, how are you going to tell somebody where you are to be able to come and find you? So these are things that need to be taken into consideration. And then lastly, any first aid. Yeah, is anyone in your group first aid trained? Have you got supplies? What kinds of common ailments might happen when you're on the walk? So things like blisters, stinging nettles, twisted ankles, or chafing. Are you going to be able to deal with those whilst you go along? All right, so before you do any walk, you're going to need to do your planning document, make sure this is all filled in. Okay, then we need to think about the countryside and protecting it, because people like going to the countryside because it's, very pretty, but if everybody goes to the countryside and doesn't take care of it, it won't be around for very, very long. Yeah, so people would love to go to a country park or love to go to a park, and then they run around, destroy the grass, etc. So is there a way that we, when we are doing our walk, can be responsible and make sure that we protect the countryside? So to help us, the government has come up with the Countryside Code. So this has gone through various different iterations over the years, trying to get the people to think about how they can enjoy the countryside, but how they can protect the countryside, and how everyone can be considerate of everybody else as they are using the countryside. All right, so it now has basically 3 key parts. All right, number 1 is respect other people. So you're out enjoying the countryside, someone else is out enjoying the countryside, just be respectful of each other. If you're taking your dog for a walk, keep that dog on a lead. Not everybody loves a dog jumping up on top of them. All right, think about the noise that you are making. Think about if you're walking towards each other on a path, or if you're on a bike on a bridleway, stopping and allowing other people to get through there. Yeah, everybody has a right to enjoy the countryside, so it just takes a bit of common sense to respect everybody else. All right, number 2, or second bullet point, is protect the natural environment. So again, if we just go in and do whatever we want, we might destroy the countryside, and then it will just be a bit of a waste ground. So there's lots of different ways that we, whilst we're navigating, can protect it. Key number 1 is just use the footpaths. The footpaths are there, they've already been trodden down, people have used them, so just stick to them. There's no need to create a new footpath if a footpath already exists. Think about animals that are out there, all right? Dropping litter, all these kind of basic common sense things. Yeah, you drop a crisp packet on a footpath, no one's going to come along and pick it up. That's just going to be stuck there, all right? And then we know animals might pick it up, get choked on it, all this kind of stuff. So just being sensible about what we do, all right? If you need to, use the toilet, make sure that you are, going in an appropriate place, all right, rather than just, going anywhere. Is there a public toilet that you can go to, all right? Thinking about driving your car, riding your bike, all these kinds of things, just protecting the natural environment. Coming into that is also thinking about that the countryside can be someone's livelihood, so farmers, for example. So there's always this common misconception about when you get to a gate, should you always close a gate behind you? Well, the advice is that you should leave a gate as you find it. So if you get to a gate and it's left open, there might be a reason that a gate is left open, for example, for animals to move between one field and another. So if you find it open, just leave it open. If you get to a gate and it's closed, close it behind you. If you're going to climb over a gate or a stile or anything like that, try not to damage the stuff that is there. Don't push over walls or all this kind of stuff. Again, this is all basic, hopefully common sense. And then lastly, enjoying the outdoors. So yes, the outdoors is a lovely place to go, but think about being safe. What kinds of things do you need to consider when you are out in the countryside? All right, so again, this goes back to what we talked about with our safety factors. Are you capable of being where you're supposed to be? If you're navigating, is that capable? If there's a body of water, should you really go jumping in it and swimming in it? Is that safe for you to do? Okay, so all of these things are there protecting the countryside. All right, now there is some legislation, some government legislation about the countryside. All right, so it's the Countryside Right of Way Act 2000. The idea being is that as members of the public, we have got the right to use the countryside, but we've got to use it responsibly. So if there's footpaths, use those footpaths responsibly. We can't just go wherever we want. All right, so things you're going to need to do: think about your safety, planning document, and then think about protecting the countryside.